So for this board challenge review, I've actually written out the snippet exactly. Now, I wouldn't usually do this, but just I think the understanding with this board challenge wasn't that strong compared to some of the others. So I don't want to then do a totally different example and test people even further, right? I want to just look at the example that most people have managed to cover. Again, I'll just have my little moan. Please don't leave the board challenge to the last minute. I saw a few people this morning. That's the last time that will happen. So if you leave it until the last day, you're not going to be able to do it in the future. So make sure you do it in plenty of time. Sonia suggested in the future I'm just going to come up there and treat it like an actual board challenge for a job interview, right? Just first day, the first time you see it, just go up there, get it done, and then you can concentrate on other things, right? It'll take 10 minutes, right, if you just do the beginner, if that. Cool? So remember, it's part of the accreditation criteria, it's part of the blue tick. So some of you have already missed the board challenge already, so that's your last chance essentially, because we took so long on this one. There's only going to be 7 board challenges, I imagine, rather than 8, unless you pick up the speed. So you can only afford to miss 1 rather than 2, that means, in the whole boot camp now. Alright, moan over, let's focus on the learning again, yeah? So, one of the first steps I asked you to do, which a few people actually struggled with, was just, can you invoke the function for me and tell me what it returns, right? So we're just going to concentrate on the do stuff for now, rather than the, you can tell Ricardo wrote this question, rather than the do sexy stuff function. I'm going to just remove that for now.
Sorry, was it recording?
Should be recording, yeah. I'll double check. It should be streaming, so if you're on YouTube, it should be there. Fantastic. So let me comment out the intermediate function for now. And can you please invoke the beginner function, which is this one, the do stuff for me? How would I do that? How do I invoke a function? Yeah.
You do stuff in brackets.
Yep, so I just write the name of the function, don't I? And then what do I need to pass into the do stuff method in this case?
An object?
Is it an object?
No.
Not in this case, right?
2 arguments.
2 arguments, A and B. What values should we give them? You can pick any values from the world of JavaScript and we will work out what it's going to return. Undefined, Kieran goes with. Lovely curveball in there straight away. Undefined for the first one. And the number 2?
Yeah, number 2.
The number 2 from Jack. Okay, so based on invoking the function in that way, what do we expect do stuff to return? I don't think there was actually some brackets in there in the case of our question, so I'm going to take those out. So Kate's saying it will return
Foo.
2 undefined, Kate says firstly, right? Oh, foo2, right? So let me write this. Where can I write it? Let's just do it under there. So you're saying it will return foo, what, colon?
Yep.
Then what, 2?
Food 2 again, that's what you said.
Foo2, and then what?
Comma.
Comma,
And then blah and
blah, undefined.
colon.
Colon after the blah as well. Why are we putting colons? Because it's an object. So you haven't told me it's an object. It looks a bit like an object at the moment, but not completely. How do we denote something's an object in JavaScript?
Curly brackets.
Surround it in curly braces. So you're saying it will actually look more like that, right? That's our return value. Our return value is an object, first and foremost. Why? Because up here we've returned curly braces. We've got some key value pairs. The keys are foo and blah, and the values are the result of this statement. The result of the statement A or B, and then for blah, the result of the statement A and B, yeah? And then I like that we've said it's going to be 2 or undefined, because those are the only 2 options it can be. Some people said true or false, and how, yeah? It doesn't automatically get coerced to a Boolean. It must be one of these 2 input values. So we've said foo was 2. Why did we say that? What was your reasoning for it being the number 2?
Is that because foo returns the first truth you said?
It's because this operator here, the OR operator, will return the first truthy statement, yeah? Is undefined truthy? Definitely falsy. So therefore we would move on to the second value. Doesn't really matter whether it's truthy or falsy because there's nowhere else, no other values to consider. So it would just evaluate to the number 2, yeah, which is our B in this case. And then the AND operator for the value of blah. So we've essentially got undefined and 2. What's undefined and 2? What does that statement become? So some people as well were saying, oh, that must be undefined, comma, 2, right? Because it's one thing and another, but it's not how the AND operator works.
So it returns the last falsy as well.
Yep, so the AND operator will return the first falsy value and the last truthy. Yeah, so they're opposites almost, right? So it evaluates to the first truthy value or the last falsy value. So you've only really got to remember one of these and then just know that the other one is the opposite, right? It's going to be the first falsy value or the last truthy value. That's how I remember it. There are other ways of remembering it, of course, but that always works. Any questions on what I've written? And then we will actually evaluate it and see whether we do get that back. Does it make sense what I've said or what I've written? Yeah? Okay, let's run it. Oh, 2 stuff is not defined. Oh yeah, so I didn't have a camel case on my function. Should be defined now. And we return exactly what we said we were going to return. An object, 2 keys, foo and blah. Foo has the value of 2, blah has the value of undefined. Shout out another pair of values for me. Let's check our understanding. Seb, you're right there. What do you want?
Oh, sorry, I was.
No, you've got a question.
When I tried it on the snippet, originally instead of const, it was function.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
And I couldn't
You're
get
wondering.
it to work in.
So I've written it slightly differently. I've written a modern way, I guess, of declaring functions. I've written a variable declaration syntax, yeah. So const var or let, then the name, then equal to an arrow function, which is just the same as doing function, do stuff, A, B, curly braces, right?
I don't know why I couldn't get it to work. It was always returning an error.
Do you know what error it was returning, Seb, in your case?
I don't remember that.
I think it was probably because in here originally we had a
Yeah,
semicolon.
I
No?
took that out, but anyway,
And you
it
put
was,
a comma in there instead.
yeah, and it was still.
I don't know. I'd have to see your code to know what went wrong, or at least the error message. Yeah, there could be many things.
If you write it like this, it would be the same.
Yep,
Oh.
it's identical. Yeah. Okay. Other values for beginner, or do you want to look at intermediate there instead?
Other values maybe 5,
got another number? Yeah.
Name.
Name, what? As a variable?
Yeah, very name. So argument.
Okay, what's that going to do then, guys? No? No idea?
The first one would be
I'm lost a little bit because
Why?
I'm lost. I don't know.
So we're invoking the do stuff function. You've given it two values, right? You get two inputs. A is 5, B is name.
Oh,
I
What
think
happens?
I think it would be error because name is not a string.
Exactly, yeah. We're going to get an error edge, yeah? Because where have we defined name? Name's not defined anywhere in our program, in our little snippet. Oh, we did not, which is strange. Ah, because it takes window.name. Yeah, that's a really weird one. But if we had a different variable name, there we go. Namet is not defined. Unfortunately, there's something on the window object, which is the global, right, in the browser, and that has a property called name that's set to an empty string, which is why it actually picked that. It looked further up the chain, up the scope chain, and pulled in the empty string value for name. So yeah, really weird example. Sorry we got into that today. It's my fault for allowing that to stand. But if you put any variable name at all there, we should get an error. Alright, because it's not defined.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get because
if you put it as a string.
Yeah, let's put it as a string.
on the
Never zero.
on other more basic exercises, what we put as arguments could be returned as, I don't know, like in those string examples where you put here, I don't know, first name, last name, and then it returns it as a string.
Mm-hmm.
If you have defined here A and B,
Mm-hmm.
and you pass as an argument name, wouldn't it take it as, I don't know how to, wouldn't it take that argument that as the value? I don't know how to explain.
I just think you're getting mixed up with what our inputs are and what our parameter names are up here. Alright? If we put in Seb as a value there, I don't know your last name, Seb, I'm sorry. I'm just going to give you an X for now.
Okay.
And then you add first name there to create the first name variable, and last name there to create the last name variable. Then we could do something like first name or last name.
Okay.
Alright, and that will work because these inputs go into these variables. So the variables are of course defined. When we're calling a function and we pass it a variable, that variable has to be defined somewhere else in our application.
But what would be the difference when instead of first name, last name, we have AB, AB?
Would be the same.
What, here you want an AB and an AB still?
Yeah,
Or
but
up here?
no, both.
Both, so everywhere just ABs still.
And then you pass here this. Why would it get it's not defined? That's what I don't.
So leaving it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that wouldn't be undefined.
And why did it before?
So that's what I'm saying. You're getting mixed up with these parameters up here that
Yeah.
get declared when the function runs versus the inputs that we're giving it.
But when he put it as an input name, why in that case set undefined, and in this case it's returning the words.
Right.
That's what
This is a value. It's a primitive, right?
Okay.
It's a string. It's a value on its own. It's not a variable.
Alright.
Here, whatever I put
okay.
is
Now
a variable.
it's missing the, okay.
It has no value because we haven't somewhere put.
Okay, no, it's alright. It was missing the,
It's missing the quote. Yeah, it's a variable.
okay, that was the,
Yeah, we didn't define anything with
no,
a value
no,
for
no, I
that.
understand. Yeah. So,
Okay. As we've got the example there, before we move on to the intermediate, what will this return? So we've invoked do stuff with seb, comma, x.
Three words and set, blah,
Seven.
X.
Full 7.
Oh, it's already got it down there, right? I've already run it, but yes, it will return that. Why? Because
First truthy.
first truthy is seb,
And last truthy.
last truthy is x, right?
I know what I got. That mistake is because normally when we do the challenges on the platform, the function invoke is already there, so I'm not used to type it.
No, so I think a lot of you aren't used to invoking functions still, right? Which is why you seem to struggle with it on the board so much. So that's why I asked that question for both beginner and intermediate. Our function doesn't just magically run in most of our code. We have to invoke it. Okay, so talking about invocation, how do I invoke this function?
Who's what? Who's that?
Duxes stuff, open and closing parentheses.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just like that.
And inside passing some arguments.
And inside pass some arguments. What arguments would we like this time? I'll let you choose anything for now, and then I'll change them in a second. Are we tired today, guys, or something? What's going on? Just like shout out any values. You've got the whole world of JavaScript to choose from. Just give me something.
No.
0? Yeah. Then what?
Not a number.
Not a number.
No.
And null. So we've gone all falsy. Yeah.
Sure.
Put quotes around the null.
Put quotes around the
Yeah, just
around the what?
null.
Around the null. So you want a string that says null. To be really awkward, Kieran. Okay. Thanks for aiding our learning in that way. Is this going to work? Why not? Does this receive 3 arguments or 1 argument?
3.
Nope, not 3. 1. It receives 1 object as an argument. Right? We're going to get some strange values here, right? False, undefined. Probably not what we're expecting, because we would have expected C.
Yeah.
No, hold on. So if we took these values, right? 0, we're expecting not a number to be true, so we'd have expected true to come back there, but instead we got false for some reason, because it's not an object. Exactly. Alright, so what in fact happened is that we didn't have a value for the C in the object, so it took the value to be false, and it took this value to be true. So we need to declare an object so that we can make sense of what we're passing into it. How do we know it's an object? Well, this is an object destructuring pattern, right, for our parameters. Yeah, if you see some curly braces inside of the parameter list, then it means we've destructured an object. So how do I turn these three values into an object? Open curly braces. I've got some curly braces now. Yeah, you see the curly braces in there? So as well as that, what do I need to do? Do what, sorry? Two dots? No. Semicolon? No. I need to give it key value pairs, right? Yeah? Key, value, key, value. It's an object. Can I do that? Call it key 2, key 3? Yeah, that will work, will it? Okay, let's have a look. We still get false and undefined, probably not what we're expecting. What does this A, B, and C up here mean? Yeah, the object has keys of A, B, and C. They don't actually have to be in order, because objects aren't inherently ordered, but they do have to match. Yeah, that should still work. Now we get what we're expecting. True, first falsy, blah, 0, yeah? So what has that done then? Let's break it down a little bit further. That's what I was expecting, but how did we actually end up with true and 0? Can anyone explain what the values of A, B, and C are on line 6 and how that evaluates to true?
A is still 0. B is now true because we've got the not operator transforming it into true statement.
I'm going to leave the not operator there on the first step, Jack. Yeah, just tell me what A, B, and C are. Yeah?
Oh, okay.
So A you said was 0.
Yeah.
So essentially this line can be read as 0 or
true.
no, where's my or not a number, right?
Okay.
Or the string of null. Yeah, so all we've done is take our input values, and rather than writing A, B, and C, which are variables, we've actually given them their current value. Yeah, it doesn't matter that A, B, and C aren't in order. Yeah, B is still B, and C is still C. So what does 0 or not a number or the string of null become, and how?
Return the first true. The first true is opposite of the number.
Okay, so let's break it down really slowly for people that need. So we've essentially got this first bit, 0 or not a number, yeah? So we've got 0 or not, if you like, Boolean. Yeah, so what is not a number coerced to a Boolean?
False.
False, yeah. Yeah, and then of course we've still got the remaining bit there if we need it. Reading left to right again. What is not false? True. Yeah, we just flip the Boolean. 0 or true. What's that going to be?
True.
Just going to be true, right? Is 0 truthy? No, it's falsy. So therefore consider the next value and return that. So we essentially end up with 0 or oh sorry, not 0, we've just said it becomes true, right? These first two become true, so we've ended up with true or the string null. Is true truthy? Yes. So the OR operator will evaluate to the first truthy value. So in other words, we get true. Yeah, foo takes the value of true, and we don't even consider this value. It doesn't matter what it is. We've found a truthy value, let's take that. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I would do in my head, right? I would break it down into these steps and just go through it bit by bit. If I look at that all together, or maybe there's another and another or chained onto it, I can't consider those 5 things at once, right? Let's just consider the first 2. If the not operator, change it to that, and then I can easily evaluate true and the string of null, yeah? Just consider the pairs together in isolation.
Just check that.
Yep.
So on the second run through, when you're saying 0 and then it transforms to false, is that because JavaScript will transform the not a number statement into false as a value, or
It,
did you explain it that way?
yeah, I mean, the not operator does a couple of things. It coerces a value into a boolean and then flips it. So the not operator can only return true or false. We can test that. Give me a value. 2. What's not 2 going to return, guys? False, yeah? Because it coerces the number 2 into a boolean. 2 is truthy, so that will mean it's true. Not true, false, yeah? So it can only ever be true or false. Empty string is true, right? Because an empty string is usually falsy, or it is falsy. Any string, or any string is truthy. So not any string apart from an empty string becomes false. You see what it's doing? The not operator can only ever return true or false. So first, well, it doesn't really matter how you view it, but I like to view it as first you return a boolean from whatever value you have as either true or false, and then flip it to the opposite boolean. So if I put not empty array, what am I going to get? Shout it out.
True.
True, not true.
Disagree. Is an empty array truthy or falsy?
True, sorry. True.
So empty array is truthy, so it means we're going to get false as our answer. Empty object. So what is not empty object going to give me? Correct, false. Number 76.
False.
False, yeah. Not 0. True, correct. Want to do any others? not a number, which is what we had. Come on, Jack. So not a number gives us
Not empty string.
true. Can only ever return true or false.
Not empty string.
Not empty string. I think we did that one, but yeah, not empty string gives us true. Yeah. Because an empty string is falsy. Not undefined. True. Yeah. You get the idea, right? Hopefully. True. You want to do true? Not true. It's false. Yeah, there's only 6 falsy statements. So remember those. You know that not any of those 6 will return true.
What are the falsy ones again?
Falsy ones again. Okay, let's do them, right? Yeah. So we've got undefined, empty string, number 0, What else, guys?
No.
No, yeah, not a number, and
Undefined?
got undefined at the
Oh,
start.
sorry.
The most obvious one,
False.
false. Yeah, that's it. So if you put the not operator in front of any of these ones, you're going to get true. If you put the not operator in front of anything else, you're going to get false. All right.
I have a question regarding this.
Uh-huh.
No.
Regarding the actual question. Yeah.
What would happen in this case if on the parameters you put b equals false, c equals true? So you change.
So with these inputs,
Yeah.
if I put this to false and this to true, what's going to happen, guys?
Nothing.
Why nothing?
Because they're default values.
Yeah, so these default values are not considered at the moment.
Okay, that's what
We're going to talk about when they're considered very, very soon.
okay.
So the result does not change. We still get the same as before, true and 0, yeah, for our values.
So in this case, when we pass arguments, these initial values don't matter.
It depends, right? If we have no C
Okay.
and we have undefined for the value of B, how does this change these lines of code? What's the value of A? Still 0. What's the value of B?
Undefined.
So you reckon it's undefined here? Okay, if you reckon it's that, we'll take that. What's the value of C?
Yeah.
So there's no C down here, so you're saying it takes true, yeah? So this cannot be undefined because it has a default set for it. If you've got a default set, it will take the value of false. Oops. C doesn't even exist, it's not even declared. So of course we're also going to initialize that and take the default for that. So that is definitely true. But under those two conditions, if something is undeclared or has the value of undefined, these default values declared up here will overwrite undefined, or will create a variable and initialize it to true, yeah? In this case. So essentially our sum now becomes that. So we've got 0, not false. What's not false? True again. So in other words, I can just get rid of that line. And we're probably going to still return true, right, for foo.
So that only happens, but if instead of undefined you pass not a number or null.
If you put another falsy value in there, what's B going to be now when we get down here? Is it going to be false? Is it going to be null? Is it going to be something else? Got two options. Take a guess, right? Is it going to be null or is it going to be false? Why false, Faraj? Okay, just a guess. Anyone else?
Which one? Okay, yeah, not false. So false.
No. Right. At the moment, B. What is the value of B when we get there?
At the moment, it's false, not false.
Put it down. It's null, no?
So B has been given a value of null here. Does it accept this default or ignore it?
No, I think it takes the null.
It ignores it because it's not undefined. Yeah, if B was undefined or B was undeclared, it will take the default. Otherwise, it takes whatever value you've given it, whether that be null 0, empty string,
Not a number.
not a number, any truthy value, all of those will stay. Only if it's undefined or not declared does the default value get used. Yeah? So in this case, B is null, which still gets the same result, right? In the end, we still end up with true. Last thing, can we just work out what blah is with these input values, and then we'll call it a day there.
So it's gonna be 0 or
So we're saying that essentially the above line could be rewritten as A is 0, I agree with that, and
or false, no? Because you said that. If
yeah,
it's
I
false,
agree.
undefined
So
is not taken.
undefined gets replaced by the default value of false, and
True.
we have no C here, so of course that gets replaced by the true.
So it's gonna be the first true thing. So it's gonna be true.
Don't forget we're using the AND operator, so
for
that
the
AND
so
operator
it's the opposite.
returns the first,
False thing, so it's gonna be 0.
so we should get 0. Yeah? So I think we're going to get true and 0 back, is that right, in our object? Yeah. Good stuff. Any other values you want to play with to test your understanding, or is that enough?
We've done them.
Yeah, we've done lots of different examples. The best way to learn is to play around with these snippets yourself, right? So I can send, if you like, the finished snippet so that you can just run it with the values changing yourself, yeah? Everything else should work. You don't have to worry that it's not going to work, yeah? You can just input different values for A, B, and C. Guess before you run the code. And see if it agrees with your guesses and assumptions. Okay, I'll stop recording so that